Good morning / afternoon, football fans, and welcome to 3 and Out. Right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Here we go, y'all. The Super Bowl has concluded. The confetti has fallen. The grand finale of 3 and Out, at least for the regular season, is in the books. And well, guess what? It's about that time for the 2025 NFL Combine, leading into the draft. Well, free agency first, then getting into the draft, then the offseason, and then we're back at it yet again in August. My gosh. I'll tell you, this has been a wild ride, right? Loving it, though. Loving the combination of the show, by the way. I hope you guys are, too. Combining all 3 and Out together by next year, or by the new year at least, football new year, may I say, in March. We'll have ourselves a new banner and, well, a new track and everything, and, you know, the new banner with Teran and all that good stuff. But today, we're going to keep it old school. I just haven't had a chance to do it. But today, we're getting on into the NFL Combine because it starts this Thursday. Players will be there, Monday and Tuesday and all that. But beyond the field stuff that we love to watch, right, that people are buying tickets for now, which is crazy because you never think of this as an event like that, right? Well, it is now. Anything you can sell tickets for, right? But the Combine is here. Teran and I will be breaking down all the goods, man. Who is the top player to watch in each group, or who are the top players to keep your eye on? All right. Also, we'll be getting on into a little bit of free agency. Who may be going where? Maybe. How is that going to affect, as it always does, who drafts who? And all that good stuff, guys. So, we'll be jumping on to all of that coming on up today, as well as a special guest, Mike Pat, jumping on in, our very own Mel Kiper here at IE Sports Radio. Mike Pat. We'll be jumping in for just a little bit. We got ourselves a good one to go today, guys. So, strap in, grab something delicious to drink or to chew on, and be ready, because we got ourselves a good one. You are now tuned in live to the official NFL Combine edition of 3 and Out, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also it promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen, IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Oh, that's right, y'all. We're nodding our head right now. We're feeling good. We're happy. It's Saturday. It's a great day. It's a beautiful day. Hopefully it's a beautiful day wherever you are. And we are just getting it, man. So you know how it goes. We got ourselves a whole show to go. Thank you all so very much for being a part of this. You guys are amazing. Much appreciated, man. We got ourselves a whole bunch of Combine talk to get into. But, of course, big shout out to all our awesome sponsors, Planet Jerky, Vital Apparel. Please use that promo code. Support them. Support us. Of course, Seal the Deal Wax Seals, my beautiful wax company. And, of course, we have here all of the places you can find IE Sports Radio. Give us a follow. All that great stuff. Check out our newest sponsor, Raw Nutrition. GetRawNutrition.com. Promo code IESR. Just like Vital Apparel for 10% off. Grab you some protein, branched chain amino acids, creatine, whatever you use, man. Head on over, use our promo code, get 10% off. It helps them, it helps us. All that good stuff. And of course, man, I couldn't do this show without my boy, man. He, of course, is the one, the only, the host of Set Point, our volleyball show, the SoCal Spring Sports Show, and of course, co-host of this show here, 3 and Out, ladies and gentlemen, Teran Rodriguez. What's going on, brother?
Hey, Larry B. Great to be on here. We are back again after a week hiatus, and let's talk some more NFL.
I know, man. That was a long weekend. Crazy to think, right? But there we go, man. Make sure you follow my boy Teran, man, at Teran Rodriguez, #1, Set Point _IE, and of course that's SoCal Show IESR. You can follow me over Larry B at the THEE _LB53 and follow the show and both of us here at 3 and Out, all spelled out 3 and Out IESR. Show some love. If you'd like to become a supporter of the show, we appreciate you guys, man. Really cool. $5 a month definitely helps us out. And it's really cool because, hey, supporters are awesome. We appreciate you guys. It's kind of like a little tip jar, a coffee jar. So if you want to check us out, supporter link down there and in the description for the show. So check us out. Become a supporter if you'd like with and get. So with that said, Teran, we're going to go start off really quick with a little bit of college football. Why are we starting it? Well, obviously today's the mix, right? These shows are always the in-between, the tweener, between college and the NFL. But Teran, starting things off, man, with a big shout out and thank you to our awesome dudes here in the chat room, by the way. Our boy Alden K. Appreciate you, boy. Oh, look at this, man. Neil's up in here. Alden K, of course, the host of AZ Sports Zone, had a great show yesterday talking all things Arizona. So did Teran, talking all things SoCal on the SoCal Spring Sports Show. Our boy Neil, man, talking all things Carolina on Carolina Sports Update. Awesome dude right here. What's going on, brother? Glad to have you in the chat. Catch him on Mondays. But start things off, Teran. I just gotta talk about this. I have to. No more spring game? Are we headed in this direction, Teran? You've seen a few teams already, notable teams like Texas and USC. They've already decided to pull their spring games, man. They're just not going to do it. Interesting. This is something that's always happened. I played in my spring game. I mean, right? You know what I mean? You the team gets split up into two when you have whatever it is, the red and white, the green and white, the crimson and gold, whatever it is, whatever your colors are, you can split them up into two teams for those of you who don't know about this. And in the in the spring, May, throw the pads on, you're in full practice for spring football, but you're hitting each other. You have an actual game versus one another. But like everything else, okay, the concerns of injuries, I don't know. This is another one of those things where everyone's like, let's just do away with it. Why are we going to get hurt? We're going to sacrifice ourselves only when it matters the most. Now, Teran, I've been critical about players skipping out on games like bowl games that are quote unquote meaningless. Because I'm like, you started the journey with your team, be a leader, gosh damn it, play. Sorry, this is the way I think. It's the way I played. Okay. Pro Bowl. It was an honor to play in that game, and now everyone's it's freaking dodgeball and flag football now. We talked about that before. I want it gone. I hate the Pro Bowl. It's become something that's I absolutely despise. Like all the All-Star games, basically, in all sports. All of these different things, right, Teran? But I will say this. I'm actually on board with this one. So before I get into that, give me your thoughts. Are we going to see the spring game go away?
Most likely, probably because, like you mentioned, they don't want anyone getting hurt or anything of that sort. And why have a team fly down from Texas all the way to California, or someone from back east all the way to the West Coast or anything of that sort, when you could just stay at home and just have your red and white or whatever your dark and light color scrimmage at home? So I kind of would like to see no more spring games. Would it suck for the fans? Yes. But honestly, player safety is what truly matters.
Well, that's what this is, Teran. So the spring game is actually your scrimmage. It's your inner squad game where you split the team up into two, and every school does it. But it's your own scrimmage. And interestingly enough, schools are starting to stop it. They're like, it's a scrimmage, yes, but we don't need to play it because people can get hurt. So we're having USC. Teams aren't playing against teams. It's just the inner squad game. So what do you think, man? Basically, they're just getting rid of the big glorified scrimmage, inner squad scrimmage at some schools right now. Do you think that's a good idea?
Oh, yeah. I think it would. I think it would be a good idea. I mean, just have that. It's just one day out of a bunch from the off season. So I think just get rid of the spring game and then just have maybe a ramped up version of practice or something of that. So
yeah, I'm totally with you. I'm on board with this one, man. Like I said, I'm very critical. I hate it when guys skip out on these games, on not Senior Bowl, but skip out on on games like the bowl games and all that and everything, because I hate that. But like I said, man, this one's actually okay. This is a truly meaningless game, and personally, it's a spring game. People go, yeah, fans pay tickets and everything. I'm sure they paid for ours, but I'm saying, like, I don't know. What I'm saying is realistically, man, it's not really the biggest. This isn't a big loss. Spring game is kind of like black. Hey, Glenn Ritter in the chat, what's going on, man? Minnesota had to cancel so many of them over the past 5 years because of the weather. I think they're going to move away from them. And there you go. Yeah, I mean, exactly.
Weather has something to do with it too, hot or cold.
Minnesota is not the easiest place to play football or anything in that's outdoors in these months of winter. So I'm sure, but when you look at it, man, I just feel like this is exactly it. We need to. It sucks because I really do I like it. It's fun. Because I got to play at my spring game for a few years. It was great, and I really enjoyed it. But realistically, Teran, it's just not. If it's not gonna do anything, if it's not gonna help, it's, I don't know. It does help because it's a scrimmage. You get to see your dudes in action. But if it's going to put everybody at the sake of injury, then it really doesn't make a lot of sense. It really doesn't, So I'm with it. I feel that, we have ourselves a very solid, season so far. I mean, this is a lot, man. If you think about it and really think about this is crazy. If you think about it, we already have enough, man. I mean, we're starting my gosh, we're already in winter, like winter warm-ups and in practices and everything, man. If you didn't play in the national championship or a bowl game, you get a few weeks off, and you're back at it in January, and you're already going hard, and you're already lifting heavy. You're getting into your heavy programs right now in February. We're already getting closer to spring. We're getting in they're not intense practices, but they're, the weight room is really intense right now because you're getting stronger. You're getting stronger. You're doing a lot of footwork stuff. You're doing sometimes a lot of individual stuff right now. A lot of the guys are, but really it's, you're getting better right now. And then the spring football comes, you start to get more in football mode. You start getting the spring game, obviously, you get your pads on. It's spring football. You're getting your lifting in. Again, continuing that, and then before you know it, summer break comes up, and here we go. Now we're going to the summer. Camp starts coming up. You get a little bit of a summer off, a little bit, but then you come back, and it's like off. It's like kind of like a version of OTAs, just shirts and shorts, and then helmets, and then you get into camp. And there you go. Now we're playing a longer season. So yeah, man. Like Glenn says here in the chat, I think these games are made for the fans, and I agree, man.
Mm-hmm.
Look. I really, they were fun. I enjoyed them, but realistically, man, it's just, I don't know. How much is too much? And I know some people are like, well, these games are, I mean, Teran, you and I talked about high school. We always talk about high school football. How far is high school football going to go? Are we actually going to have a national championship game one day, which would be really cool? But at that point in time, I mean, these guys already play. I mean, look at Texas, dude. We look at the Texas bracket for state championships. We look at California, the CIF championships, dude, these guys are already playing 12, 13, 14, 15, some of them 16 games in high school. I know they're getting prepared for going further, but college is pushing that now to like 16, maybe 17, depending on how far you go. The NFL is already just pushing the damn thing. I mean, if you go to the Super Bowl, you're possibly playing 20 games now, 21 games. So I'm gonna say it's a lot, and I get that, but when it comes down to it, I mean, how much is too much? And the sport is very brutal. So, but anyway, man, yeah, I just want to get your thoughts on that because I think the spring game is very, it's something that I enjoyed. But yeah, if we're going to get rid of the spring game, I'm totally okay with that. I think this is something that we just focus on getting stronger, focus on getting better. We don't necessarily need a spring game to, to make things better. So anyway, guys, let's go ahead and jump on into it, man. Let's go ahead and roll on into the reason why we're all here, the NFL Combine. Darren, here we go, man. Coming up on Thursday, we're getting things going, man. If it's anything like last year, and I have it right here on my phone, but if it's anything like last year, it'll look something like this, where we get on the field, okay, on Thursday, obviously. I think it was like quarterbacks and receivers the first day, something like that. It used to be, right? It used to be the big men first, offensive linemen, then and tight ends, Then it was, quarterback, running backs, and then quarterbacks, receivers. And then it got into like D-line, linebackers. Then it was DBs on the last day and like special teamers. Well, now they've kind of switched it all up and whatever. And we're selling tickets. And like I said, anything you can sell tickets for, I guess is it. But yeah, so I don't really know the official order right now. I think last year it was kind of like quarterbacks and receivers, and then running backs. That was on Thursday, running backs on Friday, and like special teamers and tight ends, or I don't know, something like that. And then obviously, I don't know. I think receivers and quarterbacks is on Saturday actually, because they want to make that the big flashy thing where and they throw. And I think DBs or it's D-line and linebackers, the front seven were on Sunday. I forgot the freaking order, but what I do know is I'll get that for you guys in a little bit. But what I do know is lots of great players coming on out, man. We got a lot of position groups to get through. So let's get it, man. First things first, we have a whole bunch of people to get through, but who are you most excited for, Teran? Who are you most excited to see at the Combine?
I want to see the wide receivers and how fast they could go. And maybe they could surpass Xavier Worthy's record from last year, because that was incredible. Because now the bar has been set high for wide receivers in terms of the 40 times. I want to see other wide receivers try to top that or get close to that.
Yeah, we have ourselves some good ones, especially this year too. We got some speed, man. I mean, isn't it crazy? You gotta love these freaking 40 times, man. But let's get into it, man. I got a whole bunch of guys I'm trying to see here, but obviously we'll start things off with the offense and move forward. Quarterbacks, all right, man. So we got plenty of them here, not in any particular order, but of course, I think the big one, and I think announced it already, Shedeur Sanders. He may be the first one off the board, possibly. I don't know. But we got a lot of quarterbacks to talk about here, man. I mean, we're not going to talk about every single one of them, but of course, Riley Leonard got to play in the national championship. You got guys like Jalen Milroe out of Alabama. We just saw an Alabama quarterback, Jalen Hurts, win a Super Bowl not too long ago. Okay. So I'm just saying, Brady Cook out of Missouri. People may have forgotten about him. Look at Max Brosmer, Glenn's still in here, guy coming from the Golden Gophers. We have here Will Howard out of Ohio State. Dylan Gabriel, a very storied quarterback going into this one. The guy he's a veteran on the college football field, and he's gonna, see how he can do in the NFL. I think he's gonna do really, really well. So who out of all these guys are you more excited to see?
I think Jackson Dart, because some are saying that he could be the quarterback 2 of this draft. I think he would be a very good pick for anybody, for any team that's in need of a quarterback. So Jackson Dart did have such a decorated career at Ole Miss. So I'm very excited to see what he can do.
That is a great, and when I say great, I mean great player to watch, man. By the way, I just have to show this off really quick because I usually have my usual coffee cup. Unfortunately, man, rest in peace, Jurassic Park cup. I broke it. I broke my Jurassic Park coffee cup, Darren.
Oof.
Damn it. But I did replace it with something pretty cool because I had one of these in the past, and then I lost it during the move when we moved over here. Say hello to Lance.
Nice.
Yeah, got my CBU alma mater right here. So Lance the coffee cup has returned, so gotta peel that darn price off the bottom there. But anyway, Darren, that's my coffee cup. But yeah, what I really want to see, and I mean, tell us also in the chat who you guys are looking forward to the most. But honestly, dude, who I'm really looking to see is I want to see Cam Ward, because you and I bag all the time on the U, and honestly, Teran, the U is not back. I'm sorry. We had fun with that. We have fun with it every single year. We enjoy it. But the U is not back. Stop it, you delusional fans. They're not back. And when you play cupcakes all day long, of course you're gonna have a great record. But look, that to me, that doesn't say anything about Cam Ward himself. The dude can play. And okay, you can't be a total slouch team and have a good record. So though they played cupcakes, at least they were tough cupcakes. All right. Regardless, what I will say is, look, cupcakes or not, the guy is projected to be a first rounder. And you know what? Let's see what he can do. Okay, watch him end up on the Raiders. Okay, I'm just saying. But look, I will tell you this: the guy is a solid player. Okay, and overall, let's just see. Let's see what he's willing. We know he's going to bring. Taking a look at the top guys. I mean, okay, so I'm going to go to every position and just kind of roll down. But obviously, okay, top dudes. Okay, top quarterbacks we're looking at. Shedeur Sanders looking to be the first one off the board. All right, 6'2", 215. He's incredible. You know, he's got very good accuracy. The guy had a 74% completion rate his final season in college, which was pretty awesome. I mean, son of Deion Sanders, the guy has been related to quarterbacks like Jared Goff. But you know, can run actually. I mean, Jared Goff can run, but I'm just saying, you know, a little faster in my opinion. I mean, the dude is solid. So you got him. You got Cam Ward, 6'2", 230 or 223 officially from what it says here, out of Miami. Obviously, Sanders out of Colorado. This guy out of Miami, he's solid. He has a very strong arm. That's what everyone's looking at the most right now. Some people kind of dock his decision making because, you know, apparently he threw a few picks there, but it happens, you know. But he's been pretty all right though, from what I understand. You know, he's actually been pretty solid. So let's see what people can think. Some people can compare him to Jordan Love, which is I've heard as well. Jalen Milroe out of Alabama, 6'2", 225. This dude is great. He's a freaking running back that can throw the ball. Have we seen that before? Michael Vick, John Vick McNabb. You know, have we seen that before? Okay, we have tons of them now who can do it. Okay, Jackson. Okay,
Lamar Jackson.
Hurts. You know, I mean, but you know, some people are a little tripped out with his arm. Maybe he's not as strong with his arm, but who cares? The guy will get better. He will progress. Kyle McCord out of Syracuse, another dude I like, man. 6'3", 220 pounds. Out of this guy right here, he transferred from Ohio State, if you remember that term. And he's the man. I mean, he freaking surpassed Deshaun Watson's ACC single season passing record. That's amazing, man. 4,779 yards total. The guy has just been he was dynamite this year, man. So I'm excited to see him out there. And also, and I do not want to pronounce his name wrong. How do you say his name, Teran? Out of Louisville, Tyler
Shuck.
Shuck. I won't butcher his name, but
I've butchered his name a lot too, so don't worry.
My bad, you know. Oh man, but yeah, you know. So I think he's gonna be pretty solid. So Tyler Shuck, he is, you know, the guy. Look, he made Louisville actually a winning team. You know, he's been pretty good. He 3,195 yards this year. 23 touchdowns. Look, the guy is pretty solid. So those are my top 5 that I'm taking a look at. But I will say, before we roll on to any other position groups, our boy Glenn jumps in here and says, will any team be worried about the circus that might take place by drafting Deion's son? I just hope that it's nice and easy and that nothing's bad and that it's a good transition and that everything's good. But, oh boy, you never know. But anyway, with that said, guys, we said we were going to have a third musketeer for just a little bit, and he is here, ladies and gentlemen, to talk about this combine with us here. Let's go ahead and bring him on here, and he is the host of Let's Whine About DMV Sports here on IE Sports Radio, and he'll be live tonight. The man talks all things DMV sports with a delicious, tasty beverage. Unlike mine is just coffee, no Baileys or anything, but the man might actually give me a recipe for my coffee with Baileys or something because, well, he knows his fine wines and his delicious alcohols. Drink responsibly, all of you out there. But, ladies and gentlemen, bringing him on in here, welcoming him in. Ladies and gentlemen, the host of Let's Whine About DMV Sports and the chief editor of our blog, which has been kicking ass in the last couple of months, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mike Pat. What's going on, Mike?
Good afternoon, Larry B. and Teran. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good. Can't complain.
You're dancing, Larry. You're dancing. Okay, I see you. I see you. I see you.
You know, it's a party with Lance. You know, Lance and Lancers. With that, Mike, we got a few things to catch you up on. Number one thing, this is gonna be like quick takes, but
Okay.
No spring game. Are we heading that direction?
It's possible. I guess it could happen. What do you mean no spring game? Expand.
So I'll take this down really, really quick. And USC, Texas, a couple more schools have already decided no spring game this year. We're just not going to play it. I'm very critical on player. I hate it when I don't care. I'm that guy that's you started the season with your team, you're gonna end the season with your team. So guys who leave and don't play in the Cheez-Its Bowl or the No One Cares Bowl, I don't care. I'm that guy where you finish the goddamn season. I hate when people dip out, but I
Right.
understand the other side. I get it. The Pro Bowl is a joke. It's turned into flag
True.
football and dodgeball. Meaningless games. The spring game is actually a meaningless game. I played in mine, for a few years that I was in college. It was great. But at the end of the day, it is kind of a meaningless game. It's something that some schools are starting to kind of run away from. We already have a ton of games we play throughout the season. It's kind of, less risk of injury. What are your thoughts on no spring game? I think all schools are going to get rid of it soon.
I mean, I don't mind it. I don't see what a team can do in a spring game that they could not do in a regular scrimmage. I mean, a lot of these teams, they already have I mean, what's stopping you from just, getting the guys together on a Tuesday afternoon at 5 o'clock, going into the stadium, they have unlimited access to it anyways, and just doing the same thing? I mean, does there have to be a dedicated, like, hey, show up on Saturday, August or April 13th to come see the A team play the B team, where we just split the guys up and do the same thing we've been doing in practice for 2 months? I mean, they're fun, don't get me wrong, but is there a purpose to them? Is there a necessity to them? No. So I mean, if teams got rid of spring games, I mean, you saw how much I was in tune with the news. I didn't even know that was happening. So I mean, if teams got rid of
Yeah.
spring games, I don't think most people would even bat an eye. I mean,
Yeah.
I went to one spring game back at FSU and there were like
There you go.
300 fans in the stands.
Yeah.
The only cool thing, I will say, is that it does get an opportunity for some of those, some of like the like, what's the equivalent in college? The equivalent of the practice squad. Or whatever, the practice team, whatever they call.
Yeah.
You get to see those guys play. And I actually remember from that spring game, there was a guy I actually knew who I had no idea he was on the FSU practice squad, and he came into the game at cornerback and got toasted. So I mean, it's
Cool.
but
Cool.
yeah, I don't think, if they get rid of it, okay, sure. If they keep going with it, sure.
And that's a good way of putting it. We had a really cool comment right here. I wanted to kind of put some hype on, man. Captain Joe King. I hope I'm not butchering your name, bro, but I like this. We haven't got to receivers yet, but he says, hi, can you explain to me why I'm not excited at all about Teran McMillan? What's so special about him? Ooh, Teran, that one's for you. If Lad McConkey, which I think you know too, was on the board with T-Mac, who would you take first? That is a great question. Damn it, I want to get to the receivers already. But in short, I like him. T-Mac's good, but I understand what you're talking about with the big like overhype deal. I get you. So stick around for a few minutes. I promise I'll answer the question like in full. But yeah, when I can understand you, Captain Joking. I get you. I understand what you're talking about, man. So really quick, we were already into the quarterbacks, but we're talking about our top guys we're looking forward to. I guess as you already heard, Mike, I was already going over some of the guys I was looking forward to. Quarterbacks. Who are you looking at?
So I think it's really easy to look at the top two guys, like you mentioned, Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. I think this is going to be a very heavily scrutinized duo. I think teams are going to spend the next, we got two months and some change to the draft. I think teams are going to spend a lot of time critiquing them, nitpicking them. I think they're going to go through a very similar process that Deshaun Watson went through back in 2017 when he came out. They're going to be analyzing their game, picking apart every little thing. On this throw, he used a little bit too much of a sidearm action. I don't like that. And I understand that process is important, especially for quarterbacks that you're looking at the top. It's just, this duo is just going to be very heavily scrutinized, and we as fans are going to have to be prepared to hear about it for the next 2 months as well. But I'm also really curious about Will Howard out of Ohio State. That's one guy who I'm really interested to see how his process goes. Obviously, he ended the season on a very high note. He had a quietly productive year, transferred schools to Ohio State for his final year in college. So there's a lot to dive into, a lot to analyze, but you're talking about quarterback 6'4", 235, not a bad athlete, really good arm. Was he a product of a really strong supporting system at Ohio State that had multiple first, second, third round picks surrounding him at all levels of the offense? Possibly. But I'm curious to see how the pre-draft process treats him. It's not an uncommon, what's the word I'm looking for? A storyline for a before the season under the radar, tall, well-built quarterback to kind of come out of nowhere, and all of a sudden teams are talking about them as a top 10, top 15 pick. You can go down the list. Blaine Gabbert fit that exact description, ended up going 10th to Jacksonville. Daniel Jones, great recent example. Zach Wilson, you can go down the list of the examples of these quarterbacks that people were like, before the season, but then somehow through this pre-draft process, they get a lot of momentum going. People really start to like their game. And boom, next thing we know, we're talking about them going, maybe number 6 to Las Vegas or number 7 to the Jets. There are quarterback needy teams in that range that if they can't get Ward or Sanders, they might look at a guy like Will Howard and go, I'll take it.
You know what? That is fair. That's very again, ladies and gentlemen, he is, as we call him, our Mel Kiper here at IE Sports Radio, man, because the guy, exactly. I mean, he's earned the freaking title. Christian Ponder, Glenn Ritter
Christian
says,
Ponder,
the Vikings
great example.
fan.
Shoot, last year, Drake May,
who I'm still not sold on. Don't be mad at me. I like him. I like Bazooka Joe. I like Joe. I just wish they would start him. But anyway, regardless, Drake May, let's see what he's got. But yes. So moving forward, man, I want to keep as long as we can. So, okay, moving forward, guys, running backs. All right. If you want to go back to quarterbacks at all at any given time, you're completely fine to do that. But you have here tons of great running backs. Okay. Obviously, I'll go over a few that I'm really looking at right now. But I will say, man, there are some pretty solid dudes coming out this year, all right? My main dudes, of course, Ashton Genty. I keep on butchering his name, but 5'9", 215 pounds. Sounds familiar. Oh, yeah, me. The dude is a beast, man. He is a hell of a running back, like I said. Not very big, as I refer to myself, but the dude is a monster, man. He was one of the best running backs we've seen in college in a very long time out of Boise State. The guy just turned things on, man. Over 1,300 yards, 14 touchdowns, just amazing. Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina. Drake May, 6 foot, 220 pounds. The guy is just a very, very explosive presence in the backfield. Had some great numbers this year. But to continue on really fast, Caleb Johnson out of Iowa. I'm also looking at 6 foot, 225 pounds. The guy is a speedy dude, can shift. I mean, really, he can play in any type of offense, in my opinion. The guys are really good. Trayvon Henderson out of Ohio State. I think everyone has him circled. 5'10", 208 pounds, smaller guy, but shifty as all hell. Amazing. And the guy can catch. He had 19 receptions for 229 yards, and he freaking ran all over the place. The guy is a very solid running back. And also, Cameron Scadaboo out of Arizona State. 5'11", 250 pounds. I mean, again, not the biggest guys, but a solid running back. Obviously, we have lots more to talk about here. So, Teran, who are you looking forward to seeing?
Well, I'm going to look at all the running backs from the Ohio State just because all of them are so fast and they played a pivotal role in the Buckeyes championship run. And I think you also touched upon it with Cam Scadaboo just because he probably won't be a first-round pick, but he'll probably be like a second or third round pick at the highest just because I think he brings a lot of value. You saw what he did with Arizona State in the quarterfinal against Texas. Another running back that you should all keep an eye out for, and I hate to use this bias, but Woody Marks of USC because he is very fast, very shifty. He was the biggest bright spot for USC's run game, and he probably was the reason why USC had a run game. And you got to remember that he was one of 2 running backs this season to surpass 100 rushing yards against Penn State, who has arguably the best run defense out there, the other being Ashton Genty. So you got to look out for him as well. And I really want to see what Omarion Hampton can do, because I actually saw a mock draft from Daniel Jeremiah having the Chargers selecting him in the first round, considering Genty would go to the Steelers. But I want to see what he can do, and maybe he could pique some interest. I'm not the biggest guy when it comes to running backs in the first round. And also, why would the Steelers want to take a running back? Would they have like a good amount of running backs on their team?
Those are all fair and good players. All right, Mike Pat, drop it on us, man. Who are you looking at?
Well, it's interesting. Running backs it's one of the groups where more often than not you actually look for the player who gets hurt more at the combine, not like physically hurt, but whose performance kind of damages his stock. You know, the combine's not meant for everybody. Not everybody's going to come out and run a 4.3 and jump through the roof and nail every single drill. And interestingly enough, the player on the list that I think stands to lose the most from a potential not great combine performance, because I'm not entirely sure he would blow away the combine, is Ashton Genty out of Boise State. I'm not entirely sure that, he's going to put up numbers at the combine that's going to, make teams super excited. I don't think he's not a 4.3 guy. He's probably going to be somewhere in the 4.5 range, which is fine for a running back, by the way. But imagine, you're a first round pick. You have all this hype around you. People are talking about you going to the Steelers, to the Cowboys has been a very popular pick down there at 12. Does his and I expect him to perform all the drills at the combine. Does his combine performance maybe hurt that a little bit? There's a flip side. At the combine you see players make money, but you also see players lose money too. It goes both ways. But yeah, and I think Teran touched on a great point. I'm really excited about these Ohio State boys at the combine. Talking about the flip side, I think this event is made for a guy like a Travion Henderson, who I fully expect to run somewhere in the 4.3s, maybe high 4.4s possibly. But both those, Quinshawn Judkins too, I think he's going to do well at the combine. And I also am curious, there's a player who I've had my eyes on. I don't think he's going to get drafted very high, but I'm curious about his measurables. Donovan Edwards out of Michigan. This is a guy who had some pretty good hype a couple years ago, but then Michigan kind of fell off this season. Nobody was really paying attention. A lot of these other running backs had great seasons. You mentioned Scadaboo and Genty and Hampton, all phenomenal seasons. And I feel like Henderson is a guy Edwards, sorry, I saw Travion Henderson pass through the screen down there at the bottom. But Edwards is a guy who's kind of starting to get overlooked. And if he starts to slip down into that third, fourth, fifth round range, I think a team looking to take a flyer on a running back, maybe one of these really well-established teams like a Kansas City or a Philadelphia who doesn't have many needs, be like, oh, shoot, this guy from Michigan. Yeah, why not? Let's take a shot. And then knowing a team like them, they turn him into a 1,000-yard rookie, So Donovan Edwards is a guy who I have my eye on. I'm very curious to see how his combine and pre-draft process goes.
That is a great analysis, gentlemen. Like I said, I'm with you on that. I do believe, you gotta love those, right? The ones who can turn those freaking like, oh yeah, I see all kinds of stuff there. It's like some assembly required, right?
Mm-hmm.
For these head coaches. Andy Reid's like, oh yeah, draft him. Yeah, I got you. I got my crazy glue right here. I got my soldering gun. Like, I'm gonna go to work on this one. Like, yeah, I mean, and then before you know it, they turn into this freaking monster. So really good. Also here, how about this one? Neil Curtis, of course, the host of Carolina Sports Update here on IE Sports Radio, is curious to see Henderson's performance at the combine. What do you think about that one there?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Hampton could blow it away. I really think Hampton and Henderson are two guys who I think could have a very good. I mean, you remember a few years ago when Jonathan Taylor came out and people were talking about him in a positive light, and then he shows up at the combine, and I think he ran like a 4.39, and everybody was like, "Oh, I did not see that coming."
Yeah.
Those two guys I could see fitting that mold.
Big time. No, I'm totally with you, man. So good stuff there on the running backs, guys. Moving forward real quick, let's keep it going. Wide receivers, man. All right, so I'm going to keep on just making these nice and quick. I kind of like the pace of this. So obviously McMillan is, I would think he's like the number one receiver coming out. Him or Luther Burden, the third out of Missouri, but big time player here. 6'5", 212 pounds. Look, I understand he's been you guys already know he's been compared to Megatron and Bolden. He's the big boys, all right, those big giant wide receivers that are fast as crap and huge and just big. But then again, some people are just a little concerned. Is he really all that? I think he was battle tested in the Big 12 personally, but again, opinions are opinions, and I understand the hype can be a little too big for some of these players. Mike, you already kind of touched on it because it's the truth, but I want to hear what you guys say about it. Luther Burden, 5'11", smaller guy, 208 pounds, but the dude is a monster. He is a beast. I've heard him being related to guys like Kadarius Toney. The guy is a very, very versatile receiver. The guy can play. And also another one here out of Ohio State, Emeka Egbuka, okay, coming out 6'1", 205 pounds. The guy is just he seems like he'd be very solid. But a couple guys that I got my eye on, just three of them. Let's just keep it going on here. Oh, fun fact. What's this? Fun fact. Hampton was 2 months old when I graduated UNC. Wow. We're not dating ourselves. We're not doing that today. No,
Hardcore dated himself right there.
So, Teran, right? Seriously. Teran, what you got for us, man? Receivers, who are you looking at?
Well, all eyes are going to be on this wide receiver who might be playing corner in Travis Hunter. Like, that's probably the projected number one pick, depending on what Tennessee wants to do with it. You also have, and for me, I think any receiver coming out of the Ohio State is one to watch just because Ohio State is wide receiver U. So you have that right there. Matthew Golden is a big one to watch for just because he's got that speed, and I think he could definitely make some noise and aid a wide receiver or a team that is in need of a wide receiver. So you have that right there. Looking at some others, I really want to see what Tatero and McMillan can do. The big thing about him is he's big. He has good catching ability. Now, the guy that was asking who would I take if Ladd McConkey and T-Mac were on the same draft board, I'd probably take Ladd McConkey based on speed and route running. But McMillan, maybe I'm biased. He did play both sides of the ball, which he's not going to be doing anymore. But I think if you're looking for someone big and physical that can make 50-50 balls a lot more manageable, T-Mac's the guy. But if you're looking for speed and route running, you got to go with McConkey. And then I also want to see Nick Nash. I think he would be someone to watch for in the draft. I think Nash has a great catching ability and good speed. I don't think he gets the love just because he was on a non-Power 5 school. So You have that right there. And I think that is pretty much it. Maybe some of the Oregon guys on there like Trayshawn Holden or Tez Johnson. So that's just who I'm thinking of.
Tez Johnson, somebody I would keep my eye on.
Pat Bryant also is someone too. I'm hearing that Pat Bryant is very underrated.
Guys with the name Pat somewhere in their name are usually pretty good at stuff. So I'm just saying. So
100%.
Mike, Pat, receivers.
By the way, I have to acknowledge a great thing Teran said just now. The big thing about McMillan is that he's big. I like that quote. I think that's a great quote to hold on to moving forward. But it's true. I think one of the main things that has Tet, to answer the question we had in the chat earlier, what's the hype around Tet? I think I think the biggest hype around him is, the potential comps you're looking at. We mentioned a couple of them, Anquan Bold and Calvin Johnson, but I think some of the closer ones I've heard that I actually really like, AJ Green. Kind of that tall, slightly narrow, doesn't do any one thing amazingly well. Not overly fast, not overly strong, but great hands. And the physical build, I think you put them side to side. I think AJ Green was 6'4", 215. This guy's 6'5", 215. So a good identical. Also, Mike Evans. I've heard that comparison as well. Yeah. So you're talking perennial Pro Bowl receivers that this guy's being compared to. I think that's where a lot of the hype is coming from. But I'm looking at 3 guys through this pre-draft process. Travis Hunter's going to be a top 5 pick. Lock it in, put it in pen. If you're a bettor, throw the money at Vegas. He's going to be a top 5 pick, whether teams have him as a corner or receiver or both, especially both. He's going to be a top 5 pick. Tet, unless he has an awful combine, he's going top 15, I think. I don't think he's going to fall very far. Luther Burden, first-round pick, no doubt in my mind. Egbuka, I think, will go late first, maybe even early second. But I have 3 guys who I'm really looking at. One is Trey Harris out of Ole Miss. This dude is built really well. 6'3", 215. Not a burner, but there's a very interesting history of decently built, not overly fast, but physical and quicker than you might think receivers who go on day 2 and go on to make an impact in the league. A great example is Juju Smith-Schuster, fits that mold almost identically. DeAndre Hopkins went late first, but he kind of fits that build as well. So there are a handful of guys that you can kind of fit to that mold who have ended up having really good careers as day 2 picks. DK Metcalf, well-built, good physical receiver. And then same with Savion Williams out of TCU. This dude, I watched a couple highlights. This dude runs like a freaking running back. He like gets the ball in the open field and he just starts trucking safeties and corners. Like, it's incredible. Like, the physical talent is there. I think teams just need to look into him a little bit more, make sure the hands are good, make sure the route running is good. Because, one of those things about these big physical guys is they don't necessarily do the fundamental stuff as well, because they can just get the ball and bulldoze you. Why do I need to be a good route runner? I can just catch the ball, knock you out of my way, and take it for a touchdown. Who cares?
Exactly.
But then there's a third one, and this is going to be a homer pick coming from the DMV. Ty Felton from Maryland. I really am curious to see how his process goes. I'm curious to see how fast he runs. I think he's got good speed. He had good game speed. His hands are excellent, and his route running is excellent. He actually reminds me a little bit of Ladd McConkey, a guy whose name wasn't as big coming in, but he does, speaking of the fundamental things, he does that stuff well. And that stuff translates to the pros. But there's one thing about him that I will be watching the combine specifically for: his weight. He's listed at Maryland at 6'2", 175. That is concerningly small for an NFL wide receiver. We don't see many of those guys go on to have long, successful careers. There are a couple of smaller guys who have managed to make it work. Devontae Smith in Philadelphia, Marquise Brown in Baltimore, then Arizona. But guys that size, they get a couple of big hits from these safeties. Imagine he goes across the middle and gets leveled by Derwin James. Derwin James might break him in half, for crying out loud. So, I mean, his size measurements are going to be very important. And if it comes in like 6'1", 185, perfect. But if it's like still in the 170s, tall, skinny, you start to get a little bit concerned at that point.
And that is that's good stuff there. It's funny. I was thinking about Ty Felton, man. I mean, the dude, he went over 1,000 yards this year. I know that for a fact.
Oh, well over. I finished 4th in the country in receiving yards.
Dude was amazing. He had almost 100
he had an incredible season.
The dude's got some
It might be because he was the only person at Maryland, but still, hey, production's production.
If you want to win, put Booby in. Like, he was that guy. He was
pretty much.
Miles. Just give him the ball. Find him and give him the ball. No, that was the game plan. But no, man. Agreed. But big stuff there are those wide receivers, man. Let's go ahead and keep it going into the tight ends. So really quick here, again, like I said, I love the push in here. This is good. Gives us all a chance to talk. Going into the tight ends, guys. I mean, look, I'm gonna keep this one as simple as I possibly can be. Tyler Warren out of Penn State. I love him. 6'6", 257, huge. The guy's a big target. He can block. He does everything. Yeah, I like him. Okay. Colson Loveland. You just talked about the dip that Michigan had. I know. It was kind of funny this year having our GM, Angela Winstead, deem the Aurelia Quest Bowl, I think this year. It was Alabama and Michigan as the embarrassment bowl. She called it that. But regardless, Colson Loveland, Michigan, the guy is a monster, 6'5", 254 pounds. the guy is just a monster. The guy's got it all. He's a lot. To me, him and Warren are very similar. We should know, two Big Ten guys. Gunnar Helm out of Texas, 6'5", 238, is another freaking monster. The guy can catch. He can do it. I mean, seriously, all these guys can do it all. Harold Fannin Jr. out of Bowling Green. I know we were like, everyone's like, who the hell is Bowling Green? I know, right? But this dude out of the smaller school, the guy, I'm not they're that small, but he this year had turned a lot of heads. I do believe he can actually really make it happen. And of course, Elijah Arroyo out of Miami, 6'4", 251, another dude who can block and freaking do it all. Catch, block, do it all. But there's some guys there. Let me know what you think. What you got for me, Teran?
Well, you made a very good point with Harold Fannin Jr. because he not only led all tight ends in receiving yards, he led the entire FBS in receiving yards, which I think is pretty wild if you ask me. Everyone's probably going to be fixated with Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland, but definitely keep an eye on Harold Fannin. And then Gunnar Helm is definitely someone you should also keep an eye on, just because he is a big body tight end who maybe could also be a good little blocking tight end as well. So you have that right there. And then the Syracuse tight end being Oronde Gedson. He was also top 50 in receiving yards for not only tight ends, but for the entire FBS. So you got to watch out for him too. And also maybe Maliki Madavau from UCLA. I feel someone did have him going pretty early in the draft, but maybe second round. But I want to see what he could actually do. He was a pretty good target for Ethan Garber. So I think maybe he can do something big for this draft. Maybe, just maybe. But then maybe Terrence Ferguson. I think he's pretty reliable as well. Surprised we don't have an Ohio State tight end as well. But then again, with all the receiving talent, I think maybe they just use those tight ends for like blocking tight ends. So
Solid there, Terrence. So, all right, well, Mike Pat has informed us here is his last group before he has to head off to daddy duties. But Mike Pat, give it to us, man. Who are your tight ends that you're loving?
First of all, I gotta say, this is an amazing tight end class. One of the best we have seen in a while. You're gonna have probably 7 or 8 of these guys at least have long careers in the NFL. Maybe not necessarily like number 1 tight ends, but in some way or another, these guys are gonna stick around for a while. Tyler Warren is stupid. Like what he was able to do at Penn State, like, oh, I'm just gonna I'll just catch this pass for a first down here. I'll go back to that. Oh, okay, you need me to run the ball now. Okay, yeah, I'll run it up the middle for 10 yards. All right, that's a first down. Oh, okay, pitch it out to me. I'll throw it. Okay, cool. All right, I'll get the first down. Oh, we got a touchdown. Sweet. Just do it all myself. Like the skill set is incredible. I think he might end up being what we thought Kyle Pitts was going to be when he came out a few years ago. This otherworldly talent that you can line up on the end of the line, line up in the slot, line up in the backfield, put him anywhere, put him on the outside against that 5'11" corner when he's 6'6", let him try to handle that, stuff like that. But there's one guy, and there's one reason why I'm looking at this guy, and it's Luke Lachey from Iowa. And the only reason is because he's from Iowa. And I don't know what they do at Iowa to make these NFL caliber tight ends, but they know how to push them out. Noah Fant, TJ Hawkinson, George Kittle, Sam Laporta. Is he gonna? And that's all within the last decade, guys. That's all within the last decade. He's the next in line, and I don't know a ton about him. But I want to learn more about him and look at it. Like, is he gonna be that George Kittle guy? Is he gonna be more like that just absolutely insane in the brain blocker who's cackling in the middle of plays? Or maybe a TJ Hawkinson, do a little bit of both. Sam Laporta, good receiving tight end. Wherever Multi fits, he's from Iowa, so I gotta think he's gonna be a good tight end in the league.
I love that you said that, because Iowa bothers me in the worst way. Like, Iowa makes me so mad because everyone bags on their offense and they're just like they're good, but they're never good enough. But then you produce these players that go to the NFL and they're like otherworldly. Tristan Wirfs. Okay.
Brandon Scherf.
Scherf. I mean, these guys were hang cleaning freaking 450, 455. I mean,
Yeah.
I know what it's like to bench that kind of weight, but to clean that kind of weight, and I'm talking about a hang, not from the ground.
Yeah, their offensive lineman is just a bunch of corn-fed, barrel-chested, hog-toting boys out there. I'm telling you. Hog-toting. They got one under each arm.
These, I mean, it blows me away that Iowa is like not in the freaking playoffs every year, or like that. I just, it's hard for me to get it. It's, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, how do you have these monstrous players, and then you're like, 8 wins. Like,
right. Yeah, and you know who's another similar one to that? Before I go, NC State.
Yes.
Just they'll randomly pump out a perennial Pro Bowler. Phillip Rivers. Russell Wilson, who went to NC State before he went to Wisconsin. Ike Nkwonu at Carolina. Mario Williams.
Screw it. Hey, we don't need to win in college. We need to win in the NFL. Yeah. Like, I mean, yeah.
We'll put out one good player a year. Just one.
Guaranteed.
Yep,
I think all teams should circle one of those. Like, okay, we're getting this guy somewhere.
Yeah, who's the next guy? Who's coming down the list?
But Mike Pat, again, man, he's going off to daddy duties. So appreciate you, good sir, for stopping by for just a little bit, man. Finishing off almost the whole offense with us. So thank you, good sir. We'll be seeing you back on here very soon to continue on after the combine. Of course, all the mock draft stuff, pre and post after the NFL draft and all that good stuff. So Mike Pat, again, man, thank you again for stopping by today. We appreciate you, man. And we look forward to having you back here for the next show.
Thank you very much, Larry. Thanks for having me, guys. And do be sure to tune in to Let's Whine About DMV Sports tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. We're drinking a really cool beer from a really awesome brewery here in North Carolina. You don't want to miss it.
Oh, that's going to be fun. I'll tell you right now, guys, he has some of the best freaking, like, not some of his stuff is so much fun. So please make sure you tune in. As always, drink responsibly. But all of this great man here, Let's Whine _IASR, and of course, our awesome blog. We actually have an account for it now, and I'm so happy because we're turning this thing inside out. We are really going hard on the blog. IASR _blog. That's literally what it is, but you can follow him here as well. He puts up some great stuff. He cleans up all of our work here for the blogs we submit. So appreciate you, good sir. Thank you very much, man, and we will see you soon, Mike.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right, take care of it. All right, guys, that is Mike Pat, man. Thank you so much for stopping by again, man. Great dude. Glenn Ritter says here, Minnesota equals Safety University. Great draft. Thanks, guys. Well, we got a whole bunch more to go, so let's just keep it pushing, Teran. We'll go commercial free, man, because I know we got to get through this. We're already past our hour, so let's just keep it going, man. Continuing with the offensive line. So I will tell you this, man. Look, offensive line is something that's kind of nice to have, right, Teran? It's you don't really notice it's gone. Yeah, bull crap, they're huge. But if you don't have one, oh my gosh. Yeah, I think the Chiefs could tell you all about that in the Super Bowl. That happened against the Bucks too a couple of years ago. Remember that? But anyway, Teran, so my favorite offensive lineman moving forward here. I mean, I got a couple of them that I really, really like. But Will Campbell, my gosh, the guy's a freaking tank. 6'6", 325, probably the best offensive lineman coming out this year out of LSU. The guy is complete. I mean, I want him so bad on the Raiders because, well, Colton Miller is the best we have. I mean, it's not like he's bad or anything, but yeah, no. Obviously, we have some more monsters here, though. Josh Simmons out of Ohio State, 6'5", 310, another monster. Calvin Banks Jr. out of Texas, 6'4", 300 pounds. This guy, quote unquote, on the smaller side for a tackle because he's usually really tall, but the guy is a hell of an athlete. Tyler Booker, he's an interior offensive lineman. I think he's playing guard. I don't know if he plays guard and center, but out of Alabama, 6'5", it's a taller guy for the interior. 332, and Armand Membo out of Missouri, 6'4", 332 pounds, man. Great feet, pass blocker, run blocker. I mean, the guy's got it all. Great measurables. Teran, what you think here about the offensive line?
Well, I'm going to say this. I think any Alabama offensive lineman I'm going to be keeping an eye on because it seems like all the Alabama offensive linemen become washes. And that's nothing against them, but like you look at Alex Leatherwood or the offensive lineman that went to the Titans, they have not like lived up to expectations. Someone that I'm also looking forward to is Jackson Slater, who's I think he's the only FCS offensive lineman in this category, which I think is pretty darn cool if you ask me. So you have him to look forward to. I want to see some of the Ohio State linemen. Josh Simmons looks like a very enticing option. Some of the Oregon offensive linemen I think are also going to be big options for offensive lineman needy teams like, let's say, the Rams and whatnot. I also want to see Jonah Monhelm see what he can do out of USC. So that's who I got. And Josh Simmons especially.
Oh, man, yeah. These are just guys that, like I said, tanks. I mean, I love that. Mike said hog toting. Oh, yeah. Glenn says, what about, oh, yeah, Gray Zabel out of NDSU, man. Of course, freaking monster there out of North Dakota. Again, Teran, I'll say it every freaking show. Just be freaking FBS already. Oh, my gosh, come on. But monster performance in the Senior Bowl. Great athlete there. But moving forward, Teran, looks like just to keep it pushing here. Defensive line, bro. let me put this back up here. But yeah, man, defensive line this year. We got some studs coming on out on the other side of the ball, man. And some guys that I'm really looking forward to, of course, the former defensive line myself. I love seeing these guys just go to work, man, in the combine, seeing their flexibility, seeing their movement, seeing their hands, their speed. They're able to get out, get in, get out. Mason Graham is a guy that I am just so excited for. I know Michigan didn't have the best year, but 6'3", 320, man, the guy is just an explosive, monstrous athlete. The guy can freaking play anywhere. I don't care. He's 320. I'll put him at end. I don't give a crap. The guy is just a monster athlete. I love what he's got going, man. He's a big dude, big, nasty plug in the middle. The guy's a monster. Also, Walter Nolan, defensive tackle out of Mississippi, Ole Miss, 6'4", 305. This guy's another freaking monster, man. Huge guy, strong guy. I mean, I don't have any of his numbers, but I mean, the dude looks like he can freaking bench a truck. I mean, this team wasn't the best team this year, but I'll tell you right now, he was a big part of the reason why that defense was actually relevant. So, Kenneth Grant, another tackle here out of Michigan. As like I said earlier, we got two monsters here out of this team. 6'3", 322. Another one. I mean, both these guys together, it's hard to believe that Michigan wasn't the greatest this year. But hey, you need a whole team for that. But regardless, monster player. Abdul Carter, I think people got him as like the number one guy to look out for, obviously. Top edge rusher coming out. He's out of Penn State, 6'3", 259. Guy is a monster. Everyone is very excited to see what he's going to run in his 40 because apparently he's ran like 4.4s in the past, from what I understand. But the guy is a monster. And of course, Mason Graham, we just talked about him right now. But I mean, overall, I love what we got. I think we have some solid players here coming out in the defensive line. What do you got, Teran?
Well, I think you just touched upon it with Abdul Carter. All eyes are on him because he's probably going to be the projected top 5, if not number 1 overall pick. Someone, and I guess for other players that I think that come from this team, Nebraska, led by Ty Robinson, just because Nebraska loves to win in the trenches. And I think having those big boys really makes a difference. So I want to see what Ty Robinson has or any other Nebraska player has. As well as Alabama, they always have a big-time defense. Riley Mills, also someone to watch for. Oluwafemi Oladejo from UCLA. Apparently there's like a lot of hype with him, so I want to see what Oladejo has in store for us. And then Jack Sawyer, I think he was the one that had the scoop and score or the forced fumble and then the scoop and score for Ohio State to clinch the game over Texas. So he's definitely going to be someone to watch for as well. And maybe CJ West from Indiana, because Indiana, remember, they had such a great season and they even made that college football playoff. So you have that right there. So I think that's all I've got.
No, great players right there, man. And yeah, I mean, Sawyer, I thought he was an outside backer, but he might be an end. I don't know. But the guy is a beast. I do know that this is just going to be an awesome draft. I love what Glenn says here. Lots of depth in this draft at defensive tackle. And it's true, man. He says here, I want either Walter Nolan or Kenneth Grant for the Vikings. Hey, I know they're missing monsters like Jared Allen. I'm just saying, I mean, he looked like a Viking. So I know they're missing that. Moving forward there, let's keep it pushing, man. Into the backers, man. Front seven, like I said, I played in the trenches, played at backer. I love playing. These are just fun positions to play. Nasty, nasty collisions all day long. That's where the fun is. But looking at some of the top backers, Darren, I guess I'm excited for this one, bro. I just want, Jalen Walker out of Georgia. I mean, we've seen guys, like Smith go, Roquan Smith. I mean, Georgia can produce some backers, man. 6'2", 254 or 245. This guy is a monstrous linebacker. He does it all. He can cover. He can fill the gaps. He can pursue in the run game. Another guy like him, Jahad Campbell out of Alabama. Lot of very, very, very good accolades this guy can bring. I mean, the guy, not accolades, sorry. Lots of very good attributes he can bring. I'm sure he's got accolades too. But the guy is a monstrous player. His pursuit game is unmatched. I love it. 6'3", 244, a guy that can really play well. Demetrius Knight, also out of South Carolina, 6'1", 246, another freak of nature. And then also Barrett Carter out of Clemson. This dude was he was the star of that defense for damn sure. 6'1", 230. And of course, Carson Schweisinger out of UCLA, 6'2", 225. I'm sure you got a lot to say about him because I know you covered him a lot this year, Teran. But who do you got for backers? What do you think?
I got Kobe King from Penn State as well as Jack Kaiser as players to watch for. And then you made a very good point when it comes to Schweisinger from UCLA. Apparently UCLA's got some stud defensive players that really stand out. And I hope for good reason as well. So I have him to watch for. Maybe Cody Simon of Ohio State as well. Jalon Walker, because he does come from defensive back university. So
yeah,
you have him as well. You have Jihad Campbell out of Alabama. Jeffrey Bassa from Oregon.
Oh, yeah.
And then maybe Nick Martin from Oklahoma State. So that's some notable names right there.
Agreed, man. And I like it, man. Jihad Campbell can make a ton of money if he runs well at the combine, and I completely agree. We just talked about that a little bit ago with Mike Pad, and yeah, Glenn makes a really good – it's all good. Makes a really good point there, man. It really does depend, but backers – not the biggest class of backers, but definitely some dudes who can make a freaking immediate impact on some teams. And then, of course, there were the DBs, Teran. Some DBs coming on out. Let's get into some of these guys, man. I have some pretty solid ones here. Travis Hunter, of course, the Heisman freaking winner out of Colorado. 6'1", 185. The guy does it all. He does everything. And he can play freaking wide receiver. I mean, the guy is if you want to talk about somebody who can relate to Deion Sanders, I mean, this was him. The guy can play all over the place. Amazing athlete. Need I say more? Will Johnson, another dude on that Michigan defense. I'm telling you, they weren't so good in their offense this year. They weren't so good overall, but individually, there's a lot of standout talent here. Will Johnson, corner out of Michigan, 6'3", 205, freaking monster. Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame. We've seen this guy all year play at a high level. He did everything he could in the national championship. I'm just saying, this team had so many upsides to it. Just couldn't get it done, though, at the end. But the guy can freaking pick the ball off. Amazing pass breakups. He's so versatile. He can play in so many different defenses. I would like to take him, honestly, for the Raiders. Siobhan Revelle Jr. out of East Carolina. You have ECU. Shout out to our GM, Angela, her alma mater. 6'2", 188. This is huge, man. This guy plays like he's a bigger corner, all right? The guy can hit. He does it all, man. Another really, really, really good coverage type dude who can definitely pursue in the run too. And Malik Starks, safety out of Georgia. I mean, another hard hitter, 6'1", 205. Very strong, very, very hard-hitting defensive back here. Teran, who you got for DBs?
Well, you touched upon with Will Johnson. I think he definitely is going to be first-round material for anybody. If not, he'll probably slip early in the second round. Tommy Hill from Nebraska, like I mentioned, winning in the trenches. That is so big. I also see Maxton Hook from Toledo. That's a kind of an interesting name right there, just because Toledo, not one of the more flashy names out there in the college football, but Hook seems to bring a lot to the table. Same can be said for Bilal Cohn of Western Michigan and Rayon Lane III from Navy. So you have him. And then this probably might be the best name of the draft. Robert Longerbeam of Rutgers. Just based off of that name, I want to see how he does. Maybe Jabbar Muhammad. That's another name right there. And then another guy from Tulane, Caleb Ransaw. So you have that right there. And then Shavon Revel Jr. from ECU. And then Jalen Smith from USC. He was vital in the USC's not so great defense, but he was one of the bright spots. So those who I have.
No, solid players all the way around. So there it is, guys. There is our combine talk. And get some guys to watch out for. I mean, we don't got a whole bunch of time before the combine. But again, man, check it out. See who you like. Glenn says here, a medical result at the combine will be important for Ravel. Absolutely, man. These guys, it's gotta, it's true. These guys, they measure everything. How good is your health overall? What are we looking at overall? Because that's who they're trying to hire. That's who they want to pick upon this team to be that next great. So I will say this, though, Teran, we got a few things to talk about before we're out of here, man. Number one thing, NFL retirements. Here we go. Unfortunately, I hate seeing him go, but Zach Martin has called it a career out from the Dallas Cowboys. Man, it was fun seeing him play for so many years. The guy's a freaking beast. He calls it a career. Also, Darius Slay calls it a career from the Eagles. Why not just run into the sunset, Teran? I mean, hell, he did it. He made it happen. Played for the Lions for a little bit. I mean, the guy, a big day Slay, man. I mean, the dude.
Big play Slay.
Big play Slay. We're going to miss him, man. Definitely a monster there. We have, now this is a speculation, and I want to ask you about this. But from what I understand, I don't know. I just Googled it earlier, and Teran, though, the speculation. Travis Kelce is possibly looking at calling it a career, maybe not. I'll tell you right now, we said it before on the 3 and Out finale for the Super Bowl, Teran, that if they would have won, I think he would have announced retirement that day. I'm just being real. Why not? You're riding off from the sunset with 3 freaking bowls. But it's hard. It's hard having your last game be a loss, and it's hard having your last game be a loss on that stage. And it's hard having your last game be a loss on that stage when you're going to make history. So I get it. I know that mentality. It doesn't sit well. It's a nasty taste. You don't want to end things that way. But if he does, hell of a career. I'm just saying. What more do you have to prove? You were the best tight end in football. I don't care. I mean, Kittle arguably next to you. But when it comes down to it, I put him ahead of Kittle just to buy a little bit. The guy is amazing, and he's proven it. Super Bowl wasn't his best game, but I'll tell you right now, this is just a very good career, and we'll see. So anyway, what do you think, Teran? First things first. I mean, what do you think about Kelce? And then, of course, sending off Martin and Slay so far. What do you think?
Well, Kelce, I think he's going to come back because I've been hearing reports saying that Kelce will be most likely coming back to be playing one more year at the very least. And then Slay, obviously, he ended his career with a win in the Super Bowl. I think that's what he pretty much wanted, and he did get that. And I did hear that he was going to retire after the Super Bowl. And what a way for him to go out. It's like a storybook ending. And then Zach Martin, look, I feel bad that, unfortunately, things didn't go great with him with the Cowboys, but he will go down as one of the best offensive linemen there is. And he probably could be a first ballot Hall of Famer, not to jump conclusions, but I think he had a illustrious career with the Cowboys. And I think he's going to be an eventual Hall of Famer, if not first ballot.
Completely agree, dude. I think this is a huge huge loss for the Cowboys. But same exact time, he gave all he could, man, for all these years. The guy, I mean, you look at these great offensive linemen, Larry Allen, the great. Tyron Smith played there for a good line. Tyron might call it a career soon, too. But I'm just saying, they've had a very, very, very good run with offensive linemen throughout the years. But, so peace out to those guys. Wish you the best in your next career, whichever you do. And for Kelce, again, man, I think he'll be coming back too. But if he does call it amazing career, dude. So really quick, Teran, before we're out of here, a little bit of dabble at free agency. Of course, we know that the NFL New Year, oh boy, here it comes. NFL New Year is coming fast. It is what day is it again? It's like March 12th, I think, this year. If I'm not mistaken, I think, yeah, somewhere right around there. Regardless, the NFL New Year is coming and free agency. And of course, what do we mean by the NFL New Year? For those of you who, aren't that much into football. Well, here it is. Yep, March 12th, Wednesday, March 12th, the NFL New Year starts. And this is where everyone can start making deals. The free agents are free agents and contracts are up and all that good stuff. So free agency will be a big thing. Who's the hot commodity? Who's going where? Well, Teran, I got a few guys for you here. If you want to throw in some of your own, by all means. T. Higgins. Oh, boy. Where's he going? Is he going to stay a Bengal? Is he somebody who, where is he going to go? Some people are saying the Commanders could be a huge freaking place for him to go. The Patriots, the Raiders. I don't know. The Raiders need everything, but will he be going to the Chargers even? I don't know, but the guy is a monster. He's been battle tested, proven. Another guy, Chris Godwin from the Buccaneers. I don't know. Will he be on his way out too? The Chargers also look like a spot for him to land. Would that be a big place for him? Imagine him on that freaking offense. That'd be huge. Trey Smith, guard out of Kansas City. Is a big possibility. He will even leave. Some teams like the Dolphins looking at him. I could see lots of teams. And the Jets, they need everything they can get. Who knows? The Raiders even. All right. Khalil Mack. Well, Teran, hey, this is another guy who, he's, definitely towards the end of his career or not ending, but, definitely the latter half. But the Seahawks, will they be picking him up? Will the Raiders want to pair him with Max Crosby? Will the Raiders even hold on to Crosby? Will he be going somewhere else? I don't know if the Jets will take him. That defense is solid, but they need more help on the offense. Will they go to a place like, Chicago's already had him once. I don't think they'll take him again. But regardless, I'm just saying, will this guy end up somewhere? The Texans, maybe. We've seen like Clowney go there. I don't know. I'm just saying, Milton Williams, defensive tackle, another beast here, man. Out of Philadelphia, is he somebody who's going to be testing free agency a lot? Some people are saying maybe the Lions. Again, Kelsey is a free agent, but will he retire? I don't think so. And I don't think he's going to go anywhere else. If he's going to play, he's going to play with the Chiefs. So a Raider, Trevon Moehrig, a guy who's really made up some pretty big not made up. He's made a name for himself, really. Will he be staying with the Raiders? Some people say he could be a great fit for the Niners. Aaron Rodgers is one of the biggest stories of the entire offseason. Is he going to stay a Jet? I don't think so, because I don't know if I think that marriage is over, unfortunately. But
they're going in a different direction with him.
There you go. So it's where's he going to next? Who could it be? We have no idea. I don't even know a team to throw out for him. And believe it or not, I don't know if you heard about this one, Teran. Matthew Stafford, his contract's up. Is he going to stay in Los Angeles? Will he be somewhere else? Will he be a Jet? Will he test or will he stay?
Will he be traded to the Giants for the 3rd overall pick?
Oh, that's another one, man. So I'm just saying, yep. Aaron Yell, big ups to our boy Aaron Yell jumping on in here. Our host of Mile High Musings here on IE Sports Radio. Catch him on Sunday evenings, man. He says, the silly season incoming. That's right, Denver. So, all right, Teran. There were some silly things that were just said. Elaborate. What do you think?
Well, you got to look at the salary cap space as well. Patriots have over $100 million worth of salary cap space, and they have the chance for possibly dubious immortality this offseason. Raiders are second with just a little under $100 million. Then you got the Commanders, the Bears, the Cardinals, the Chargers, which I think this is going to be a big offseason for the Chargers. The Bengals are right in the top 10 as they've got a little over $61 million in terms of cap space, and they could use that money to either franchise tag T. Higgins, from what I'm hearing, or they could just sign him to a new contract. They also got to pay Jamar Chase, though, so you have that to look forward to as well. So lots to look forward to this offseason, and don't be surprised if the Patriots or Raiders decide to throw money at certain players, because they need those certain players that can get them back into relevancy. Yeah.
No, that's for damn sure. So who will it be? Who do we have? I'll tell you right now, Teran, we have ourselves a fun, silly season. I like that. It's right, obviously named silly season, deemed silly season. Who do we got? Who's doing what? Who's going where? I'm really excited for this, dude. We have ourselves a really, really, really fun free agency coming up here. We got the combine, of course, coming on up. You got guys that need to prove themselves in the combine. Who's going where? Who's doing what? You got guys who already proved themselves in free agency. Are they going to be the captains of their own destiny? Or will it be the teams who are like, yeah, no. I mean, I'm not saying, man, it's so crazy. You're going to love free agency. But what do we got? Who's going where? Lots of moving pieces. But that, my friend, is that. So, let's cue the music and get up on out of here, man. It was a fun one. That was a fun one, man. So, for my boy, man, Teran Rodriguez, make sure to follow him here at Teran Rodriguez, #1. Set points all together. _ IESR. Or sorry, IE. And of course, at SoCal Show IESR. You can follow me over there, be at BTHBE_LB53. And of course, follow the show at 3&Out IESR, all spelled out. Our boy Mike Pat, man, thanks for stopping by today. Let's Wine _IESR. Catch him tonight. Let's Wine About Sports. Going to be a great show, of course. Also, we have our blog up, IESR _blog. Check out our awesome sponsors again. Thank you to those guys. Planet Jerky, Premium Biscuit Beef Jerky, Vinyl Apparel, VTapparel.com. Use the code IESR, 50% off. Show some love, help support them and their journey for mental health with their great gym wear, and of course help support us as well. Seal the Deal Wax Seals, iSportsRadio.com/Seal the Deal Wax Seals. Awesome little stamps for the back of your wedding invitations, birthday invitations, all those great things. Also, check out rawnutrition.com. Use promo code IESR for 10% off. Show some love, man. Grab you something good, some whey. Like I said, some branched chain amino acids, some creatine, whatever you like to use, man. And of course, use our promo code to support them and support us. That was a fun one. Teran, any last thoughts before we're out here today?
Soon, it's going to be a whole different season, and it feels like March 12th is going to be when Christmas begins for the NFL in terms of free agency.
Dude, yes. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm ready for it, man. Let's see what we got going on. Thank you to everybody who tuned in today with the chat, man. Aaron Yao, Glenn Ritter, Captain Joe King, Mr. Alden K jumped on in here, Neil Curtis. Appreciate all of you guys, man. Thank you all for tuning in. We have ourselves so much more to go. A couple weeks, 2 weeks from today, we'll be recapping the combine. Let's see who goes or who may be going where. For Teran Rodriguez, for me, your boy Larry B. This has been 3&Out, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Till then, take care. And as always, God bless.
Peace.
Peace.